Yes, indeed, folks. The purple ball of Buggy Fluff returns, and if you thought the last revisited guide was for something way out of date, you've seen nothing yet. Do bear in mind, however, this is not actually an old Bell and Bigfoot showcase. You'll have to venture to the past for all that, as there's more than enough to discuss here today, which is something I couldn't say 3 years ago when we first encountered this thing and its pink poop. But before we get to any of that, this is a guide after all, so how do we get to witness and abuse our friend Glommer exactly? Well, through her statue, of course, a process that hasn't changed over time and continues to be just as simple to follow as long as we stumble into the proper biome, that being the Pig King deciduous at the end of the day. Now, the natural structure should also be pretty darn near the entrance of the joint too, so use that to your advantage, but do note that it also enjoys being quite close to the Pig King village, so there you go. Whatever the case may be though, finding the thing is just the first step, and all we'll be able to do for now is simply mine it for 3 marble guaranteed. And no, this will not actually impact what's to come. That being Glommer's natural spawn come the very first full moon night, and every full moon night beyond it. Come these times, her flower will appear on the statue, and will be very ready to be picked and carried in order to turn Glommer into one of the many followers of Don't Starve Together. She'll follow wherever her flower goes. She will provide a positive 6.25 sanity per minute aura with her butt, and I do mean literally. And lastly, her death will be one of the only ways in all of Don't Starve history to instantly spawn Cramp Eye due to the naughtiness mechanics at play. A noteworthy sacrifice that you should absolutely note, as while a dead Glommer's wings and flowers are useful in solo Don't Starve, see the old Bell and Bigfoot video if you have no idea what I'm talking about, the only hope for them today is their fuel value. Yeah, both really don't do too much but clutter our stuff at the end of the day. But start factoring in all the new methods of spamming Glommer spawns for spammable Glommer kills, and all the worthless loot is actually going to be worth it. Since we last spoke on this topic, we have gained 2 options to force a full moon on any night we choose, completing the 3 celestial altars to spawn the mysterious energy and its moonstorms without finishing the quest any further, say by killing the celestial champion, and Wickerbottom's lunar grimoire book here. And while the latter is still expensive, I absolutely know which one I'm choosing for early control over the entire flippin' world, essentially. With continuous full moons come continuous Glommer spawns, and as long as we continue to kill these Glommers over and over and over again, we will be able to farm both them and the Cramp Eye that come with their deaths over and over and over again. Have fun, and yes, it is actually this simple nowadays. But here's the thing about all that new nonsense, folks. You might actually be missing out on Glommer's claim to fame. Yeah, sure, Glommer drops 2 Glommer Goop when killed, but she also poops it out every 2 to 4 days anyways, so I guess it will be up to you how you want to go about amassing the stuff. And you'll want to do so, as nowadays, it will be a great healer or a way to quickly drop our sanities. It serves as one of 3 of the 3-in-1 fertilizers of this game, meaning they will restore all 3 nutrients to our soils at one time. And finally, it will go into both the very versatile tree gem of the waterlogged update, as well as the randomly added hostile flare that might just be one of the most important items to have ever been introduced in this game. So because of that, allow me to expand on the latter 2 crafts before we actually return to the regularly scheduled program. Come winter, a hostile flare will have a 60% chance to spawn both a Mactusk hunting party in full and deer clops, or both mined. Please note though, that while we are creating entirely new deer clopses here, the same cannot be said of the Mactusk gang. We're simply pulling the natural Mactus that have naturally spawned in the world closer to us, essentially. Send one of these puppies up while out on the water, however, and you will have the same 60% chance to force a pirate raid for whatever purposes you feel necessary. Namely for their buried treasure, I'm assuming. But it's not too shabby for an item that costs 1 Glommer Goop, eh? And Tree Jam even continues this useful trend, as it will be the primary power behind growing our very own above average trees and their fig vines, of course. A process that's a bit bit too involved to get further into today, mind. Can and will progress the growth cycles of most trees in this game by one stage with each use of the goop. Is a 3-in-1 fertilizer itself, believe it or not, being more efficient overall compared to goop alone, obviously, is the only way to fully patch a boat without actually leaving behind patches, while also still healing the boats themselves. And lastly, can both heal wormwood and begin their blooming early if you're outside of spring. Also not too bad, wouldn't you say? But before we end the day with a few extra tidbits, let us not forget a few extra uses of Glommer Goop itself. Wormwood heals and blooms with it too, although the healing side of it all will leave a lot to be desired compared to the other options. Walter has a hidden song tied to choking down the stuff, which is just fantastic to see and hear, and of course, we cannot ignore the fact that Glommer's a mama. As you can see, Goop will also go into adopting Glom from the rock den, so make notes. But yes, them tidbits, one of which I myself literally only learned of today. Glommer herself is immune to any attacks by spiders or bees of any sort, which is just crazy to me. Catcoons will still target and absolutely slaughter any Glommer left nearby, which isn't anything new, but it has always been annoying, so do be aware. And finally, yes, a pan flute should spawn underneath Glommer's statue guaranteed, so be sure to make good use of it, you numpties. And there you have it, everyone, a long-awaited revisit to a very old friend in Glommer, whose personal guide was in sore need of an update after all these years. Seriously, go and compare the two videos and see for yourself just how lackluster she and her pink poop used to be back in the day. This here might just be one of the biggest and most important refreshes of information we have ever had on this channel. But before we truly go, I do wish to direct you once again to what can be described as Glommer Part 2, if you know what I mean, as the friendly flyer is even more involved than what was seen here today. The old Belle and Bigfoot do deserve some love and attention even after all this time, and perhaps even stares, because the latter is actually very weird. But thanks for watching, folks. Well wishes to all, preserve that poop, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.